You know what's crazy? When we talk about ancient civilizations, we often forget that these people had incredibly complex belief systems. I mean, the Sumerians weren't just building ziggurats for fun. They had this whole pantheon of gods that basically controlled every aspect of their lives. Let me take you through some of these fascinating deities because honestly, their stories are wild, the divine couple that started it all. So let's kick things off with Anu and Ki. Picture this. Anu was basically the big boss, the king of all gods. He represented the heavens, and when I say heavens, I'm talking about everything up there, the sky, stars, celestial, bodies, the whole cosmic package. The Sumerians saw him as the ultimate authority figure. If you needed cosmic justice or divine order, Anu was your guy. Now here's where it gets interesting. Anu married his sister Ki, the earth goddess. Yeah, I know how that sounds today, but back then, this union represented something profound, the connection between heaven and earth. Together, they created the cosmic balance that kept everything running. He wasn't just some passive earth deity, either. She was the source of all fertility, the one who made crops grow and ensured harvests were abundant. Without her, the Mesopotamian civilization wouldn't have survived. Their children? Absolute powerhouses. We're talking about Enlil and Enki, two gods who would shape Mesopotamian mythology for millennia. Enlil, the storm lord who separated worlds. Enlil is one of those figures who just demands respect. As the god of air, wind, and storms, he literally held the power to shape reality. But what really set him apart was this incredible act. He forcibly separated heaven and earth, creating distinct realms for each. Think about that for a second. Before Enlil, everything was mixed together. He came in and said, "Nah, we need organization here." And boom, the cosmos as the Sumerians knew, it was born. His main temple was in Nippur, and people traveled from all over to worship there. Kings sought his approval, because without Enlil's backing, your rule was basically illegitimate. He controlled the winds and storms, which weren't just weather phenomena. They were manifestations of his divine will. But here's the thing about Enlil. He could be harsh, really harsh. There's this famous flood myth where the gods got fed up with humanity. Why? Because humans were making too much noise. Seriously, that's one of the reasons given. The constant commotion disturbed the gods, and Enlil decided enough was enough. He pushed for a massive flood to wipe everything clean. Yet even Enlil had his moments of mercy. After the flood, when he discovered some humans had survived, he eventually made peace with humanity. The survivor, Utnapishtim, and his wife were even granted immortality as a blessing. Enki, the clever god who loved humanity. If Enlil was the strict authoritarian, Enki was the creative problem solver. This god was associated with fresh water, which in Mesopotamia meant everything. We're talking about the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the canals, the underground aquifers, all the water sources that made civilization possible. Enki was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He was the god of wisdom, magic, and creation. His most famous achievement? Creating humanity itself. See, the gods were exhausted from all the manual labor they had to do. Someone suggested creating beings to serve them, and Enki took that idea and ran with it. He shaped humans from clay and breathed life into them, giving them intelligence and creativity, basically sharing his own divine qualities. What I love about Enki is that he genuinely cared about his creation. When Enlil wanted to destroy humanity with the flood, Enki couldn't just stand by. He secretly warned Utnapishtim, told him to build a massive boat and save the animals. It was risky going against the other gods like that, but Enki believed humanity deserved a chance. He also gave humans the tools of civilization, writing, art, science, all the good stuff that allowed Sumerian culture to flourish. His temple in Eridu was considered sacred, and craftsmen especially worshipped him as their patron. Inanna, the queen of heaven who couldn't be tamed. Now we need to talk about Inanna, later known as Ishtar. This goddess was something else entirely. She represented love, fertility, war, and wisdom all wrapped into one complex personality. Beautiful and fierce, nurturing yet destructive, Inanna defied simple categorization. She was the daughter of Nanna, the moon god, and sister to Utu, the sun god. Her main temple was in Uruk, one of the greatest Sumerian cities, where priestesses performed sacred rituals in her honor. These weren't just ceremonies. They were believed to bring fertility and blessings to the entire community. Inanna's relationship with Dumuzi, the shepherd god, is legendary. Their love story became the subject of countless hymns and poems. It represented the sacred union between feminine and masculine, the fertility of the earth meeting the prosperity of the flocks. But like many divine romances, it ended in tragedy. Dumuzi's death sent Inanna into deep mourning, and his cyclical journey between the underworld and the living world came to symbolize the agricultural cycle itself. Speaking of the underworld, Inanna's descent, there is one of the most powerful myths. Her sister, Ereshkigal, ruled that dark realm, representing death while Inanna embodied life. When Inanna descended through the 7 gates, stripped of her power at each one, it showed incredible courage. Even though she was killed and imprisoned, she eventually returned to the living world, mirroring themes of death and rebirth that resonated deeply with agricultural societies, the underworld rulers. Ereshkigal deserves more attention than she usually gets. As queen of the underworld, she ruled over Kor, a cold, dark place beneath the earth where the dead resided. It wasn't exactly a pleasant realm. The only food was dust, and the atmosphere was perpetually gloomy. But Ereshkigal maintained order there, passing judgment on the dead with her husband Nergal by her side. Nergal himself was the god of death, war, and disease. Pretty intense portfolio, right? He was Enlil's son, and, together with Ereshkigal, they governed the realm of the dead behind 7 locked gates. People saw Nergal as both terrifying and necessary. He brought plagues and pestilence, but he could also protect you in battle and drive away evil spirits if you knew how to appease him. The celestial siblings, the sun and moon, held special significance in Mesopotamian life, so naturally their deities were major players. Nanna, the moon god, provided gentle light at night and guided travelers. His cycles determined how people planned agriculture, conducted rituals, and marked important events. Lunar eclipses were seen as major omens, signs from the divine realm that something significant was coming. His son Utu, the sun god, also called Shamash, rode across the sky in his chariot every day from east to west. But Utu was more than just a solar deity. He was the ultimate guardian of justice and truth. Courts invoked his name, and a famous code of Hammurabi referenced him as the source of legal authority. Because the sun sees everything during its daily journey, Utu could peer into people's hearts and determine truth from lies, the primordial mother. Before all these gods came Namu, the primordial goddess of the cosmic ocean. She represented the chaotic waters that existed before creation, the boundless potential from which everything emerged. As mother of the gods, she gave birth to Enki themselves, establishing the fundamental structure of the cosmos. When it came time to create humanity, she was the one who suggested it, working with Enki to shape the first humans. The rise of Marduk. Now, as Babylon rose to power, something interesting happened. Marduk, originally a Sumerian deity as Enki's son, became Babylon's patron god and eventually the king of the entire pantheon. His elevation mirrors Babylon's political rise under Hammurabi. The epic poem Enuma Elish tells Marduk's greatest story, his battle against Tiamat, the chaos goddess. After defeating this primordial beast, Marduk literally built the world from her body, establishing cosmic order and laws. This made him the supreme deity, with all nature and humanity owing their existence to him. His sacred Animal was the Mushashu, a dragon-like creature representing both protection and destructive power. Lesser known but important deities. Jibal, the fire god, doesn't get enough credit. He mastered metallurgy and controlled fire in all its forms, purifying, transforming, renewing. In his workshop, he forged weapons for warriors, jewelry for royalty, and tools for craftsmen. During times of chaos, people called on Jibal because his fire could consume impurities and bring renewal. He represented that careful balance between destruction and creation that fire embodies. The truth is, these gods weren't just abstract concepts to the Mesopotamians. They were real presences that influenced daily life, from the success of crops to the outcome of battles, from legal decisions to personal relationships. Understanding these deities gives us a window into how ancient people made sense of their world, how they grappled with questions of justice, mortality, love, and cosmic order. Pretty fascinating stuff, right? These myths have echoes in later religions and continue to captivate us thousands of years later. That's the power of good storytelling combined